Welcome to the Scotrail.
Hello, and welcome to Train Sim World 6. Today, we are in the newly updated Class 158 timetable that is now available on the Fife Circle, which finally makes 100% sense. Sorry about that. So let's turn the master key on, get the lights set up for day, and then we'll unlock the doors. We'll use this one. Anyway, so we are here in Edinburgh Waverley, the beautiful Edinburgh Waverley, in fact. And we're not driving the 170, we are driving the 158, the Leven mouth to Leven, with the beautiful Leven livery that was created for the opening of the Leven mouth rail link. So we'll be taking a 5 circle stopper, calling all stations to Leven. It's a shame that this is during the day. I would have preferred it to be sort of on a commuter run in the morning or in the evening, but this is what the Leven mouth livery has been included on the timetable. So this is, as I say, a newly updated timetable, which includes now finally the Class 158, which for the time that I have owned the 158, I feel like it's been a bit of a waste on the Scotrail, because it only really gets used on the Edinburgh to Glasgow run, and semi-realistically and not completely realistically. Anyway, DRA comes off, to forward we go. There's our guard. Oh, we forgot to turn our GSMR on. Anyway, we'll accelerate up to 20 mile an hour. And I'll turn off the HUD. We are running on 2 kilo 61, the 12, what is it? It's the 10 something or other, to Leven. And Leven mouth, so from Cuddy to Leven, it's a brand new railway line. I say brand new, reopened railway line, which opened just not too long ago actually. It got a lot of fanfare, and it's amazing to see railway lines reopening. Scotland has been quite lucky in regards to reopening lines, like one of them most famously being the Tweedmouth line to Tweedbank from Edinburgh, and it's normally run by Class 170 Turbo Stars. Occasionally 158 will run it as well. So we went under the National Gallery of Scotland. Now we're travelling in the Princess Street Gardens area, and to our left hand side is the castle, and the Castle Rock, very famously. And it's rather beautifully depicted, in my opinion, on the 5 circle. And it's, like I say, it's finally time that we have a train appropriate, or should I say a train that's been available, but now running more appropriately on the services that it actually operates on. To our right hand side is the Princess Street Gardens. And the beautiful livery. There's the tunnels behind us and the National Gallery on top of the tunnels. Now we're going to go through these long tunnels, and we'll accelerate up to 35. And we'll go through these tunnels, and then straight after the tunnels is Haymarket Station. And what I like about this route as well, they've kept the onboard announcements. I hope they stay here on the Class 158. I've decided to leave the door open, as you can hear some more noise, and you get a much nice reverberation in the tunnels here with that as well. There's 35. I can see the end of the tunnel now. If I'm honest, I know one of the criticisms with a lot of the train sim world trains is the sound. In my opinion, the 158s with East Midlands and here on Scotrail are actually not too bad. I'm very, very familiar with the 158s, having travelled on them many a time. I've done both, also the Scotrail 158s up and around Scotland, and also the East Midlands ones in and around the local area where I live, and in the East Midlands. So we're going to start slowing down now for Haymarket Station. I wonder if it's going to announce actually. Or it might just be departure announcements then. Now, I'm not too sure where the stop marker is, but I'm pretty sure it's the same as the free car, which is at the end of the canopy there, which is, in my opinion, for a 2 car is a bit far away. So let's just stop a little bit early. Did the doors open? Didn't sound like the doors open. Oh, there we go. There was a slight delay. So our departure time here is at 10:58 and 45 seconds. So we'll just wait for that timing. Then we'll be stopping at Gateway, so we're not stopping at South Gyle today. Then Dalmeny, North Queen's Ferry, Inverkeithing, Dalgety Bay, Aberdour, Burn Island, Kinghorn, Cutcuddy, Cameron Bridge, which is a new train station, and Leven, which is also a new train station. So let's get rid of that. Plus 385 just pulling up on our left side, probably from Glasgow. What I like about the 158, especially suited to this route, is the fact that it has dual controls, both throttle and brake control, which makes it a lot easier when it comes down to hill starts, for example, and I'll show you that in a moment. Unfortunately for the 170 Turbo Stars, they don't seem to have a brake hold mode on Train Sim World, which is a shame, because on stations where you're facing uphill or downhill, the train will start moving before the before the train will actually start accelerating forwards. But anyway, we have now line speed of 90 mph up until we reach the split of the Edinburgh Glasgow Express line to our left side. And as mentioned before, our next station will be Edinburgh Gateway. Shame the announcements didn't come back on. We had an announcement originally, but it looks like the announcements are not available, which is fine. It's not a problem. I'd like the announcements though. But I can make the announcements myself, can't I, as a commentator here. I got the window open, you can hear the wind noise. Driver vigilance, let's get that out. Now we're passing Murrayfield to our right hand side, and the Haymarket Depot. Murrayfield being the home of Scottish rugby. Interestingly about Murrayfield as well, on the New Era's tour of Taylor Swift, a seismic machine in Scotland actually noted that there were tremors in the Edinburgh area during her concert, which was taking place there in Murrayfield. Look at that beautiful livery, honestly. Beautiful, beautiful livery. And then the Penny's Furniture store there. So our next speed limit, which will be coming up shortly, is 75 mph as we take a curve towards South Gyle. The Edinburgh to Glasgow line on our left hand side will continue straight under the wires. We are not under the wires anymore. We are not under the wires now, once we pass Murrayfield, and we'll continue outside of electrification for a little while. And the curve is just coming up now. And so we turn towards South Gyle and towards the north, and the Fife Kingdom. Well, the former Kingdom of Fife, now the County of Fife. There's our 75. We'll just idle the throttle as we have a slight dip on topography. And we'll let the train just glide itself down. Back up to 90 mile an hour. And then once we pass through South Gyle, we'll have to prepare to stop at Gateway. And here's South Gyle Station now, so let's idle the throttle. Passengers standing very close to the edge of the platform. Brake step 1. Start braking. Brake step 2 as we get a bit closer. And I think we got good braking action. Nice and smooth for the passengers as well. Back into brake step 1. And one of our 158 colleagues is in the platform going towards Edinburgh. We'll come off the brakes now. This is Edinburgh Gateway. Change here for the Edinburgh tram. And also a light here for the Gyle Centre. This is also where the depot is for the trams. Oh, we're gonna overshoot the stop marker. Actually, we should be okay. Oops, I undershot it slightly, but not a problem. So this is Edinburgh Gateway Station. Rather beautifully depicted. Our colleague in the 158 is just departing towards Edinburgh. As I said, this is Edinburgh Gateway Station, as you can see here. Our departure time today will be pretty much now. I'll just let you see what I mean by this is change here for the Edinburgh tram. The Edinburgh tram is actually, I can't get, there it is. It's just down there. Shame it's not very well depicted, but there's a good connection here between trains from the Fife Circle and trains. Oh wait, we haven't finished boarding our passengers. Oh, okay, we're okay. We'll just get rid of that one then. Then we'll wait for our guard. There's our guard. We'll let the engine run up. Release the brake. And off we go. Next station will be Dalmeny, which is actually at the foot of the 4th bridge. Full power now, as the line speed is 90 miles per hour. This section after Edinburgh Gateway will be running alongside the airport of Edinburgh, and you can actually see planes landing and taking off sometimes. Now, throughout the years, I have done this this route as a passenger many a time, having relatives who live in Montrose and in Aberdeen. So I've had many opportunity over the years. My 31 years of life traveling up and down this section of the East Coast Main Line, because this is still classified as the East Coast Main Line, believe it or not. And now on the left side, you'll actually see the start of the airport. This is the most southern end of the airport, and there's what used to be an old runway, but I believe it's now being used for sort of storage and extra car parking facilities for the airport. And occasionally you'll also see the trains from the terminal if you've got a gate, especially if you've got a gate facing this way. The Ryanair flights, most of them will depart from this side, so you'll get to see them in the distance travelling along here. So as I say, we'll be running alongside the airport for a little while. I'll keep my head poking out on the left side. Then, there's the... I believe this is the runway here. Yeah, this is the runway just here. So occasionally, you can see planes taking off and landing from here. You can see the airport over there. And it's an amazing view as a passenger. Like, genuinely, it's an amazing view. Very rare you get those kind of views here in the UK, honestly. So we have 2 miles to run now until Dalmeny. Speed limit is now 100 mph. Just going to check the timings at Dalmeny. We should be departing at 11:10:45. And that's our advance warning for the 50 mph over the bridge. Over the Forth railway bridge. The beautiful Forth railway bridge. Just going to idle the train. Just going to make sure that we are okay. So we've got an 80 mph just here. Then we drop down to 50 just after the station. So now that we are in that section, we're going to go brake step 1. And then a line from the left side will join as well. And that line goes to the Edinburgh to Glasgow line via Falkirk High. And there is never really any passenger services running on that line, but there is often empty stock movements that will use the line for various reasons. But there it is on the left side, and obviously freight movements, as it can connect directly to the West Coast Main Line and, let's say, the big marshalling yards at Moss End in the Glasgow area. So we've got passing loops here as well for such trains that may use it, and also for trains that can turn back here at the Forth Bridge if there's any disruption, for example. We're now approaching Dalmeny, a station that I have been to a few times now, going down to South Queensferry. And the stop marker is just around about where the bridge is, so that's why we're going nice and slow on the approach. And it's a shame that the dynamic weathering, the dynamic fog, has decided to pull itself in as we approach the bridge. There's a route map that hasn't been unlocked yet, so let's unlock the train doors, and then let's go. Oops, let's go and no. Why did you not unlock the train door? Oh, it's because the guard was opening the doors, isn't it? Let's go unlock this map. So you can see here we started at Edinburgh. We're going to be finishing up in Leven. This section here was only recently reopened, and we'll be traveling along here. So you can see the route map here, and we'll be traveling along this side, which is the coast actually, alongside the coastline up towards Leven, which is also on the coast, seaside resort. As I goes inland, Dunfermline City. I like how it includes the word city because it only recently got city status, I believe, for the Queen's the last Jubilee, which is the Diamond Jubilee. Okay, let's go back to our seat and we'll go lock the doors. Then we're going to go over the Forth Bridge now. And here we go, we're going to go over the Forth Bridge. Shame it's really, really foggy because you can't see the bridge very well. But there's a 50-mile-an-hour limit over the bridge. Next stop is North Queensferry. Why was I going to say South Queensferry? South Queensferry is to my left-hand side from the bridge here. Yeah, it's oh gosh, this fog is very, very dense. Let's see if we can see. There's South Queensferry over there. This is the slipway for the Maid of the Forth, which I've actually been on. And we can't see the other two bridges, but they are somewhere in the fog over there. The two road bridges. Suspension bridge. Actually, I can just about make out the... No, I thought I could just about see the side of the suspension bridge. Or the original road bridge. Anyway, going over this massive, massive, incredible structure here on the Forth Bridge. And honestly, if you could see it... See if I can... There you go, look how beautiful that bridge is. British engineering at its finest. And the Leven Railway livery 158 heading across. This island is actually meant to look like a battleship, and it actually does look like a battleship. And I think you can just about see the suspension bridge, which is the older bridge, road bridge, and then there's another road bridge further up. Before the road bridges were built, the first road bridge in the 1960s, I believe, you'd have to take either the train across the river, or if you're in a car, you'd have to take a ferry. And actually the slipway for the Maid of the Forth is actually one of the slipway that was used for the ferry, and I don't know where the slipway on this side of the river is. So there's the Firth of Forth that we just come over, and we're now approaching North Queensferry. Actually, right over the town right now. Never been into the town of North Queensferry. I would like to one day. But here we are, North Queensferry. Got many memories of travelling in the HSTs over here. Back in the GNR days. Going to see one of my aunties and my grandfather and my granddad up in Montrose. The last time I came up this line, I was going to see that same auntie. Fortunately, my grandfather had passed away when I was quite young. That person was in the middle of the track, strangely. There we go. Yeah, so the last time I went up to Montrose and up on this line, I was going up to see my auntie that we used to go to see all the time. And I brought my wife and my daughter with me. We were lucky enough to actually travel on the HST on the way up, the Inter-7 City of the Scotrail, which, if I'm honest, it brought back some memories, especially coming over the Forth Bridge. And seeing my daughter, at that time at the age of 2, and going across the bridge, it's a big flashback for me as well. Being young, going across the Kingdom of Fife and over towards Angus. Anyway, let's close the doors now, and I'll let you watch the departure from outside. And now, interestingly, about these barrels that you might have seen on the Scottish routes, these are actual whiskey barrels that have been recycled into flower beds. So we've got a series of tunnels and views, which is very interesting, this part of the line, before we make it into Inverkeithing. Now you should be able to see the park and ride over here, and the entrance into, I believe, the main bridge, but I'm not too sure. Yeah, you can see the motorway sort of there anyway. And then I think there's the park and ride just down there. Yep, that's the park and ride just down there. Just be careful with the speed, especially with this fog. Back up to 50 over here. And then we are only, what, about a mile away from Inverkeithing station. Honestly, it's a shame about the fog on the line today, because I think we're going to miss some of the nicest views that you'll find on the train sim. And then just after here, we're going to slow down. There'll be a line that will come up on our right hand side, and the station will appear. Oops. Let's get ourselves a position to see. Oh, can't see. Let's get into here. Oh, we've ended up slowing down very, very early. This is not a bad station, to be honest, here at Inverkeithing. In fact, the details on most of the stations I find are really, really nice. I mean, look at it. I mean, although you can't go inside the interior here, you can actually see the interior really, really well. I'm going to need to use this, the heads up now, because I'm not really overly familiar with the route on this side. You can hear that bus engine from down here. There's a big puddle underneath that. So we'll lock the doors now. We'll wait for our guard to buzz us, and then we'll make our way along the Fife coast up towards Leven. Oops. So we got a 40-mile-an-hour limit as we leave the station. The line to do the Fife circle in the anti-clockwise position, the clockwise direction will be turning off to our left, while we follow the Fife circle in the anti-clockwise direction. All the Leven train services will follow this service pattern. Unless you can tell me something else, that there might be one train in the morning or one in the evening that goes via Glenrothes and Dunfermline. and up to 50 again. And this is a triangular junction, so you'll see some tracks leading from the left side as well. And I'm not too sure when these tracks are ever used. It might just be used by maintenance trains and freight trains, but I don't know the details on that. Anyway, we're gonna speed up as we got about 1 mile until we reach Dalgety Bay. Close the window as we speed up. And as I say, it's a shame that for whatever reason the weather, the dynamic weathering on the route has decided that it's going to give us some pretty dense fog. On a lot of days when you're running alongside the coast here at Fife, if you look at the geographical map, you can actually see Edinburgh and the Arthur's Seat from the Kingdom of Fife and along this coastline. We'll get our brakes on now as we approach Dalgety Bay. It'll be just after this signal. A person with the suitcase is standing right on the edge of the platform. That's why I tooted my horn, and there's a couple of people standing right on the edge of the platform. Here we actually have a 2-car marker, which is good because this is the first time since the release of this train that you've been able to drive these 158s officially on the route. So it's a bit strange that they have been there the whole time, really. So you get a much better view actually on the way back into Edinburgh of the coastline compared to the direction that we're travelling in. But it helps that the line that you're on is actually running alongside the coast as well. You can see the guard still at the end position. Guard's door closes. Go back into the cab. And there we go. Next station is Aberdour. Full power now, 75 mile an hour. Interestingly as well, at the start of privatisation in the 1990s, Scotrail was operating the 150-2s on this on the Fife Circle services, replacing the class 101s, and I believe there was like 115s or 117s, one of those Metro Camel first generation. I don't think they're Metro Camel, but the Swindon Works, I think they were units, and actually some of them were painted in the orange of the Strathclyde colour scheme, so the orange and the black, if you know what that is. And upon receiving the class 170s, they got rid of all the almost all of the 150s also went during that period. And I can actually remember the early days of the 170s, and I actually really do like the livery of the 170s in the original Scotrail privatised livery. It was actually very, very nice. And in fact, I do like the current livery as well, that all the Scotrail trains are in, the Saltire livery, which is very nice, and it's kind of harping to, I guess, a bit of nationalism in Scotland and Scotland pride, which is brilliant, you know, with the St Andrew's cross of the Saltire painted on the front and the ends of each of the carriages. And when you've got two trains attached together, or two carriages together, you get the nice Saltire, or the nice cross. However, this is a unique paint scheme available. I say available, that is on the 158 Sprinter units. and it was a vinyl wrap for the opening of the Leven mouth trains. There's a 5 car. That's a formation that you do also see quite frequently on the 5 circle services, and it's a 157 3 car with a 2 car 158, and often you'll see 158s also paired up as well. So it's interesting to see as well that Scotrail is running a tender now for a replacement of the HST sets, because the HST sets now are becoming expensive to operate and very difficult to maintain due to the fact that their age is, you know, we're coming up to 50 years of those trains being in service, and they are still running, you know, express services here on the Fife line all the way up to the Highlands, and it's very stressful for those trains. They're now slowing down for Aberdawa. There's a 50-mile-an-hour limit through the station, but of course we are stopping, so we'll get that train slowed nicely down. So as I said, there is currently a tender out on replacement units for the class, for the HST sets that Scotrail currently operate. And I don't know, perhaps they can pick up some 222s that will be released from East Midlands to replace those. I'm not too sure. That would be my best bet, unless they're going to go for something completely brand new. But at the same time, there are plans to electrify the 5 circle line. Actually, I believe the project is starting to go underway already, but it's on a partial, what they call partial electrification program, which means there won't be overhead wires the whole way, and it's a lot of that's to do with infrastructure restraints. For example, the 4th bridge, to build over OLE equipment on the 4th bridge would be very, very difficult and probably not good, especially for the structure. Some tunnels might have to be redone, and bridges, but yeah, it looks like there'll be electrified services on these. Well, there'll be electrified trains running on these services soon, I would assume. In my opinion, as well, having the lines electrified, even if it's only as far as Kirkcaldy, I think it's a good thing. It also will benefit the likes of LNER with their Azuma sets, that they can run it longer under the overhead wires, as opposed to all on diesel from Edinburgh up to Aberdeen. Because at the moment as well, on the other side, on the Inverness train services, the LNER trains are running, the LNER train Azuma sets are running on electric up to Stirling, and then they switch over to diesel power from there, whereas in the past they would have been changing over the electric in Edinburgh. But then actually, by the time the Azuma set started service, I believe the HSTs were already out of service, and they were already, and the electrification up to Stirling was already completed. So we just departed Aberdawa now. We're making our way along the coast again, up to Burnt Island. Why did that come off? The GSMR came off for some reason. Don't know why the GSMR came off. There we go, we got it back on anyway. Now we've got a line speed of 75 miles an hour. Got 65 coming up, so we're just light on the brakes. This is running along the coastline, and on a good day you'll be able to see Edinburgh in the distance there. So we're just coming into the Burnt Island. We're into Burnt Island now. Bringing the speed down to 40, as there's quite a tight curve going through the station. That's why there's a 35-mile-an-hour limit as well for freight trains. Oops, we're coming in really fast. It's my mistake for not being in the driver's position when driving the train. But there's a 3-car mark here. There doesn't seem to be a 2-car. We'll just release into step 1. So we have a nice smooth stop. Perfect. As I said, there's quite a steep curve. There's quite a tight curve going around through Burnt Island here. So we've only got a few more stations left on this route, and this is actually one of the nicer stations. I say nicer stations. It's one of the ones that's got nice views on the way in and out, as you saw from the train. So we've got Kinghorn, Cutcuddy, Cameron Bridge, and then Leven. As you can see here, Leven Mouth Rail Project, part of Scotland's railways. So now that we've departed from Burnt Island, our next stop will be Kinghorn, which is the penultimate stop before Cutcuddy, and then after Cutcuddy we'll be turning off to the Leven Mouth line. Again, it's a shame about the weather. I hate to see it, but it is very, very a shame about the weather. Because look at this coastline here. That beautiful coast. The sun is trying to break through the clouds though. And the sun is starting to come out now. But you can see Sun is coming out, but the fog is still quite persistent. Imagine being up in one of these caravans watching the trains go by. Oops, got to full service the braking so we can reach the 30-mile-an-hour limit. Just having a bit of fun today, really. Nothing too serious. And bringing back some memories of travelling on the Fife Circle. Oh, look at that view. Now the sun is coming out. It's a shame because we're now going to miss out on all these coastal views. 30 mile an hour as we go underneath the town of Kirkcaldy. Now I'm hoping that I will try to... I'm going to have a look at putting a cross-country Voyager 220 unit running along this route, and perhaps Intercity 7 City units as well. Be nice to see LNER Zoomers, but we've only got the 800 and what? We only got the 801s, which don't have, you know, they only have diesel engine for emergency purposes only, and not for operational purposes. So this is Kinghorn now. I know I said Kirkcaldy earlier. Oh, he just came inside the cab with me. And then Kinghorn up to Kirkcaldy. Just ease off on the braking. There we go. Neutral, unlock. But look at this. Got the beach. Got a beach down there. Train station up here. Oh, beautiful. There's a church over there. I mean, what more do you want? This is a fantastic route. I know you can criticize it. I mean, we can criticize all of the routes that are available for Train Sim World, but if I'm honest, it's a beautiful game, and most routes do it some justice. I saw one review that was saying that there isn't enough foliage and there isn't enough detail in this route, but in my opinion, it's fine. I don't have a big issue with it at all, and this is what, a couple of times I've driven on this route. This is the first time doing it with the new Sprinter timetable, and it's good. It's brilliant, and I'm glad that it's been done. So we just wait for the timing because we've got 45 seconds.
Operates a no smoking policy. This includes e-cigarettes.
Alright, so next station is Kirkcaldy at 3 miles. Look at this view. Got the beautiful coastline here, caravan park. What more do you want in this route? I think it's fantastic. So we've just got a few more stops now, 3 more stops, and we'll be making it to Leven. Next stop is Kirkcaldy, which is one of the biggest towns in the Fife area. And the station where LNER and cross-country services also stop at. And Cuddy is actually known as the Long Tun, which means long town, as it runs longitudinally along the coastline, believe it or not. And they're famous. Every spring they have a big spring festival running along the coastline. They have a big promenade along the coast, and they run this fun fair every springtime, normally around, I believe it's March-April period time. And so I think for me on the Train Sim world, I'm going to try to add some either an extra train within the timetable, following real timetable of the cross-country services. There's only a handful now that go north of Edinburgh, or I will add, well, it'd be nice to add the Azuma, but you know, unless I did a repaint of the 802, realistically you couldn't drive it operationally down here unless I did it as a repaint of the 802, which wouldn't be fair on LNER in my opinion. And like I say, it's a shame that it didn't include 800, class 800 LNER as well. I mean, especially now with GWR, 800s are also operated by GWR. So we're now coming into the town of Cuddy. There's a football stadium there. 0.8 miles away. And the station is just ahead of us now. So we'll go brake step 2. The brakes on the 158 are fantastic. And I think that's why Scotrail loves these trains, especially for the Far North line and the Kyle line from Inverness. I've got all the stop marker boards on that sign there. Oops. Oh, we'll go out here. I'll show you something. So this is the stop marker board here. S car mark 4/5, 3 and 6. I believe the 4/5 car marker board, it looks like the old VT ones. There used to be VT 4/5, which was designed for the Voyager sets. This is Cuddy Station. Very nicely detailed. Nice underpass. And this nice building on this side. It looks kind of nice actually. They've done a good job. Like I say, they've done a good job with the details. And you can see inside here, yeah, it's not too bad. Right, we're going to go. Final step of the line, the final step of the service, going across the Leven Mouth rail link, as it says on the side of our train. Leven Mouth rail link. And then we'll come across a triangular junction once again, like we did in Inverkeithing, which links up with the other side of the Fife Circle. Hence why it's called the Fife Circle, because you could actually do a full circular service. And in fact, there was a period when Scotrail had leased, I believe it was one Class 68. I think they had actually two, but they ran it as just with one Class 68. 6 Mark II F coaches, and they were painted in the Scotrail livery, and they would run a peak service in the morning, Fife Circle, and it would be a full circle, in fact, and a peak service in the evening from Edinburgh around the circle back to Edinburgh again. And they were running those for a few years, especially while electrification programs were being rolled out on the Edinburgh Glasgow line via Falkirk High, and delays in the Class 385's deliveries. So as a stopgap, while they couldn't release the Class 170s across to this line, the Fife Circle, they were running the class leased in Class 68s and Mark II coaches to run a couple of peak time services to do the full loop from Edinburgh to Edinburgh. And it provided the perfect stopgap until all of the Class 385s had been delivered. Likewise, if you didn't know as well, the Class 365s that used to run from Peterborough to London and to London to Kings Lynn, Cambridge and Kings Lynn, they were also brought over. A handful were brought over to Scotrail, while to fill in the stopgap until the Class 385s were delivered, because there were delays on Hitachi's end in the completion of manufacturing and testing of the units. These things happen sometimes with new trains, especially when they're based on they're completely new models and have new technologies built into them. But thank goodness, in the year 2025, after the few years of COVID lockdowns and uncertainty with COVID, things in Scotland seem to be nicely evening out. And in fact, the Scottish Government even announced that they will no longer be selling peak time fare tickets, and all train tickets on the railway network are now considered off-peak. So there are no confusing peak time trains and off-peak tickets that can run on some trains and can't run on others. It's all under one banner now of ticketing system. And I think more and more places around the UK need to do the same. And in my opinion, to offset some of that single fare thing, perhaps they should operate, which is something I saw in Belgium, was that on weekends they offer family tickets on return trips, so that you end up paying for, like, let's say you got 2 adults, 2 children, you end up paying just for 1 adult and 1 child, or 2 adults, instead of paying for everybody. And it's like considered a weekend saver. And I think there used to be some operators that had weekend saver tickets, and I want more companies to consider accepting weekend savers. And I hope that I forgot what the company is called, ATOC, the Train Operating Association company for tickets, will end up bringing it in with some kind of weekend saver ticket in many parts of the UK, because that would be great, especially if somebody like myself who's in the process of growing a family, have a child already and another one on the way. That would be fantastic. And I think Scotrail is leading the charge in simplifying fares, which is what we need, really. It's really what we need. So it looks like, according to my display up in the top right hand corner, we'll be shortly arriving at the Triangular Junction, which is near Glenrothes. And we need to start thinking about slowing down for the 30-mile-an-hours now. I'm surprised that we don't have any advance warnings for the 30-mile-an-hour. Seems a bit strange in my opinion, but we'll deal with it as we are. And I don't know what it is in real life. This is one side of the Triangular Junction that goes towards Glenrothes. That's why I say you could actually do a full circle around the Fife Circle. The name is very appropriate, in fact. So it's weird as well, we didn't even have a junction indicator light on that signal, which it should have been as well. So, I'm not too sure what's going on there. So now we're going to slow it down to 30 mile an hour. And yeah, so there is a connection down to the other side of the Fife circle from Leven. So I don't know, perhaps there might be a few services in the morning, one in the morning, one in the evening sort of thing going over that side, which would make sense, because if the side that we've just been driving on was closed, at least there is an alternative routing. Oh, we should have dropped down to 25 on this little spur, and then up to 45 as we come through here. There's the 45. Remembering that we have a downhill here, as you can see, the main line going up towards Dundee and Aberdeen is above us now. So we'll just be wary that we are actually travelling in a downhill direction, so we don't overspeed. So this line was reopened just a few years ago, in fact. And the train that we're driving has a special livery to commemorate the opening of this line, or the reopening of this line. And one thing you'll notice about the stations here is that they have extremely long platforms. And I believe that they've built them with long platforms so that in the future they could potentially bring in excursion trains, and also to accept intercity trains as well. So I would assume as well this is a fresh piece of track. It would be on continuously welded track, so you won't be hearing the clitter-clat as much on here like you do on most of the railway network. Speed is starting to run away a little bit, so just apply a little braking, just so we don't lose the speed. You can definitely tell that this line is not built for speed with all these curves in it. You can hear the flanges of the tracks, of the wheels screaming out as well on the corners. That's a nice view, that is, isn't it, with the river running alongside the railway. I believe we'll be following the river all the way down to the coast. Well, we've still got 1.5 miles almost to run to get to Cameron Bridge, which is the intermediate stop on this line. Again, you can tell this line was not built for speed in mind, with the curves and the speed limit of 45. Looks like we're coming into the Cameron Bridge area now. There is a 30-mile-an-hour limit coming up as well, just around this corner. So we'll get the train slowed for that. Oh, there's a bit of a bug there with those flowers. They shouldn't be in the track like that, but okay. Over the river again. Some really tight curves here. So we're just coming into Cameron Bridge. There's the platforms, and as I say, you'll note that the platforms are extremely long. I believe they can accommodate up to 14 carriages, something like that, 12 to 14 carriages. So a full intercity set can actually come in here, for example, LNER Azumas, or a full rake of HST. Or, of course, any excursion trains, for example, steam excursions, or diesel excursions. There we go. So like I say, this is a brand new station here. We've got like a minute before actually we depart, so we've done well with the timing. We'll just wait for the doors to open. We'll go have a look at this very brand new station. The beautiful Leven mouth liveried train. Oh, these two people seem to be stuck together. The flower beds. Let's put the flower beds in. Still got like a minute, so we can have a little walk. There's a bus waiting for us there. There's a map that needs to be unlocked. There's a lift that functions. That's good. This is kind of a nice little shelter, isn't it? And you can see there we're just calling at Leven. That'll be our last stop. Oh, another flower bed here. Leven mouth rail link. This is a very, very nice route actually. It's a shame. I mean, it's a shame it's a bit slow. It's a bit boring from Kirkcaldy down to here, but once we're here, wow, this is nice. Let me jump to the other side. I'm gonna take a quick screen grab. Do a quick screen grab. There we go. And then let's go depart. Alright, one final stop, and that will be Leven. 1.6 miles in approximately 5 minutes. 30 mile an hour, then we're going back up to 45. Oh look, there's somebody taking a picture of our train. Just to our left side, very nice. And then we go back up to 45 as we follow along the river here. And approaching cautionary signal. I think this is a repeater though, because I don't see anything up on that display. And what's the coding on there? ELT. Okay. Must be a repeater signal, that one. It's either a repeater or it's a distance signal. And unusual for a brand new rail line to have a distance signal. You would see often or not repeater signals, but not distance signals. Because that's what the banner repeaters are for, really. 1 mile left to run, and we'll be completing. And the GSMR just turned off again. That's very, very strange. The GSMR should stay on as long as our master key and, you know, we're all set for. Did the head code change? Because I'm pretty sure we were 2 kilo 41. Maybe I'm wrong. But 2 kilo 61 anyway. .7 miles to run. It must have been a repeater signal then. Platform 1 will be our arrival today. I thought that was a limit of shunt signal, but it's more of a ground signal for this set of crossover here. The 25 mile an hour limit coming up. A bit early for the 25, but it's okay. Better to be early than to be late and cause a derailment, I guess. And I think there's a generous turnaround time for the train as well in Leven, so I don't think that's too big of an issue. Switching over to platform 1, I can already see there's a train on platform 2 as well, alongside the river. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm not too sure where we're stopping. Because times that I've picked up are being put on here in free roam mode. Trains seem to be stopping quite far down the platform. And in fact, it looks like we will be as well, because that says 3210. There we go. So it's somewhere here. Into neutral, unlock the doors. DRA comes on because there's no. We go to tail only. We set the brake to full service. That's on, and then we go to off. We take the master key out as well. No, not contact signal. We take the master key off. And that's it. That's the end of our service. And welcome to Leven. We'll return to free roam. Close that door. There you go. Welcome to Leven, and this is Leven Mouth. Oh, Leven. And this has been the Leven Mouth Railway on the Fife Circle with the Leven Mouth livery. Class 158719. So we're going to take another screen grab there as well. Why not? Anyway, thank you for joining me today, and I hope you join me on another one. And I hope there will be some new interesting routes to cover on Train Sim World soon as well. Thank you once again, and bye-bye.